Salma Hayek's husband is CEO of the luxury fashion group Kering, home to brands such as Gucci, Balenciaga, the website that he owns that sells children mannequins and weird paintings.
Now, we're pulling back the velvet curtain on a world of unimaginable wealth, intertwined with controversies that stretch far beyond the red carpet. We're talking about Salma Hayek, the Hollywood icon, and her billionaire husband, François-Henri Pinault, a man whose empire, Kering, doesn't just own Gucci and Balenciaga. It touches corners of the art world that raise serious questions. But the rabbit hole goes even deeper. What if this lavish life is built on something far more questionable? What if we've uncovered unusual financial activities, meticulously designed to obscure profits and evade accountability? And what if Salma Hayek, the beloved actress, is not just turning a blind eye, but is connected to an industry with deeply troubling aspects? Prepare yourselves, because the truth about Salma Hayek's lifestyle and the complex dealings of her billionaire husband are about to be laid bare.
He seems to take great pride in surrounding himself with women in their late teens and early 20s.
Let's dive in. Salma Hayek, famed for her beauty and talent, projects an image of glamour and philanthropy. But a deep dive into her past and associations reveals a different picture. A chilling connection to the Balenciaga scandal, for instance, because her husband, François-Henri Pinault, is the CEO of Kering, the very parent company behind this notorious fashion house. Time and again, Balenciaga has pushed boundaries, often crossing lines into deeply unsettling territory, particularly with its disturbing imagery that has been perceived by many as referencing children in inappropriate ways. But the web of connections doesn't stop there. Salma also shares a peculiar link with fellow actress Nicole Kidman. You might remember us discussing Nicole's late father, Dr. Anthony Kidman, in a previous video that, frankly, some found too sensitive to keep online. He passed away under mysterious circumstances in 2014.
Did we just discover Salma Hayek's shell company? They paid out $0 in 2023, which, by the way, that includes payroll expenses. No one got paid, apparently, which I find very suspicious.
But serious allegations surfaced regarding his involvement in an international network involved in deeply disturbing activities. It sounds unthinkable, but what if Salma Hayek is entangled with certain aspects of Hollywood that operate behind closed doors? Let's rewind to a seemingly innocent moment. Balenciaga's Paris Fashion Week show. Both Nicole Kidman and Salma Hayek were there, posing for the cameras, when something subtly, yet undeniably, shifted. Their exchange, caught on video, looked less like a friendly greeting and more like an icy confrontation. An argument even. What on earth could these two A-listers be clashing over at a high-profile fashion event? Take a look at this clip. Just look at Salma's face. You can feel the tension. It's almost as if she's struggling to deal with Nicole Kidman. Listen closely.
Well, she responded, "Guess we'll have to find ourselves a good moment to talk."
And Nicole's chilling, "Yes, please. That's fine. Good. That's cool. I remember. I hope she remembers."
Salma Hayek loves the rich and lavish life, attending Balenciaga fashion shows and partying it up with the fellow celebrities. But Salma is just as evil as the next. She has deep connections to disgusting people who exploit children in the name of art.
What exactly is it that Nicole remembers, and what secret hangs between these two women? Salma and Nicole's ties aren't just superficial Hollywood connections. They're both deeply linked to Balenciaga itself. Salma, through her husband, the CEO of Kering, the financial powerhouse behind the brand, and Nicole Kidman as a prominent brand ambassador. When Balenciaga faced global outrage for promoting imagery that was widely perceived as disturbing and inappropriate, particularly concerning children, those notorious campaigns with plush toys in suggestive settings, and subtle references to sensitive court cases, Nicole Kidman was pressured to address the brand's horrifying missteps. And here's where it gets even more unsettling. Remember Nicole's father, Dr. Anthony Kidman? Beyond the Balenciaga controversy, there are serious and dark allegations. He was a clinical psychologist in Sydney who died suddenly in 2014. But a brave individual, Fiona Barnett, came forward with a chilling statement.
Salma has turned a blind eye to this, even though her billionaire husband is one of the most disturbing people within the industry.
she accused Anthony Kidman of horrific acts within an alleged elite network, claiming he was sacrificed for failing to adequately program her, a reference to alleged manipulative practices. Barnett filed complaints with the police, but surprise, surprise, they reportedly went unheard. These complaints were tied to what she described as a highly disturbing group. The deeper you investigate, the more alarming it becomes. His sudden death? Some believe it was connected to what he knew. Nicole Kidman's response to these profound allegations, especially while being a face for Balenciaga during their own controversy, has struck many as unusual. How can she actively promote a brand embroiled in such controversy, while her own father is alleged to have participated in a clandestine network engaged in such unspeakable harm? But the disturbing connections don't end with Balenciaga. Remember Salma's husband, François-Henri Pinault? His company, Kering, is a titan of luxury, overflowing with money, and it owns more than just Balenciaga. We received an email back in 2022 from a channel friend, Brittany, packed with receipts exposing another Kering-owned entity, doing things that are, frankly, even more unsettling.
Is a popular actress known for her beauty and her skills, but she's also a sick woman. I did a deep dive into her past and I found some really disturbing things, like her connection to Balenciaga, because her husband owns the parent company that owns this fashion line that time and time again does some really pervy things with children.
Pinault, Salma Hayek's billionaire husband, is connected to Christie's auction house, and on Christie's website, you can find a series of art pieces by the brothers Jake and Dinos Chapman, including mannequins that are depictions of children in extremely disturbing and suggestive poses, or with anatomical features placed in highly inappropriate ways. We're talking about child figurines with unsettling modifications, or conjoined children. This isn't just weird, it's profoundly disturbing and raises serious questions. I don't know what world these artists or their collectors live in, but this is not art that aligns with common decency. These aren't cheap trinkets. We're talking about pieces selling for tens, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Who is buying these unsettling depictions of figures resembling children? And here's the kicker. Selma's own husband, François-Henri Pinault, reportedly owns several of these very art pieces. Where on earth would you even display something like that in your home? What does that say about his, and by extension, Salma's taste and values? The unsettling revelations don't stop there.
Selma also has an interesting connection to Nicole Kidman. We've talked about her father before. He passed away in 2014, but he was a doctor in Australia who had a ring filled with children that he used and abused. Let's just say that Selma is connected to some of the most evil parts of Hollywood.
Our late friend and beloved TikToker Kyle, who sadly passed away, used to uncover explosive blind items. And she shared one, highly anticipated, about Salma Hayek and her husband, the Balenciaga owner, François-Henri Pinault. The blind item described legendary fights between this A-list actress and her incredibly wealthy husband. It alleged that Pinault takes great pride in surrounding himself with women in their late teens and early 20s, knowing full well it sparks huge arguments with Salma. Is this a power play? A twisted game they both enjoy? The blind item hinted that Salma would eventually be publicly embarrassed. Well, judging by everything we're uncovering, perhaps the situation is already drawing uncomfortable attention, if people only dared to look. It's a relief to see some people calling out Salma's husband and Kering for allowing the distribution of these highly questionable art pieces and promoting such unsettling behavior. Pinault himself has reportedly confirmed owning some of the Chapman brothers' artwork, and he's expressed pride in it. One person writes, "Wow, Salma Hayek and her husband must make a statement."
Let's start off by talking about Nicole Kidman, because Salma and her have an interesting relationship. Both Nicole and Salma attended a Balenciaga show in Paris Fashion Week, and while they were posing for photographs, it seems like they had an awkward exchange, almost like an argument.
I am outraged. This whole situation is so upsetting. I mean, I blurred the photos for you guys, but anyone who had seen them, you can't really go back from that. This person writes, "The alleged darkness in this world is just sickening to my stomach. They seem to get away with it because of money and power. There's silence in the media, and celebrities aren't calling them out. It's almost as if the rich and powerful are immune. isn't it? And what about accountability? When brands like Balenciaga face fire, they often scapegoat photographers, claiming it's just the photographer's fault. But as one comment aptly put it, the brands themselves are enablers, complicit. Now, because Salma's husband wields such immense power and wealth, owning countless companies, our deep dive didn't stop there. We dug further and unearthed another connection that's equally as concerning: potential financial discrepancies linked directly to Salma Hayek and Balenciaga. We're talking about a non-profit organization formed just last year in 2023. While it's presented as a branch of their global charitable efforts, its tax filings reveal unusual activity. This nonprofit reportedly raised millions of dollars in 2023, even hosting a star-studded gala. But guess how much money they actually paid out to charitable causes? A staggering $0 in 2023.
Now, what would these two need to be arguing about at a fashion show? Let's go ahead and take a look at this clip together.
Salma, one more, please. One more, please. Ladies, please.
Oh, look at her face. You can tell she's like, oh, trying to deal with Nicole Kidman.
That includes payroll, programming expenses, everything. No one apparently got paid, which, in my opinion, is deeply, deeply suspicious. This very gala was listed in this nonprofit's tax filing, confirming it wasn't some separate entity. They also reported negative revenue, a red flag that can signal internal losses or fund misallocation, or perhaps even a cover-up. And here's another jaw-dropper: $1 million loan made to a disqualified person, someone with significant influence over the organization's affairs. A loan of that magnitude to an insider? That's beyond appropriate. What else did we find? No disclosed volunteers, despite a massive gala. They claim no employees. So who was doing all the work? Furthermore, not all voting board members were listed as independent, and they reportedly worked 0 hours on this massive event. It simply doesn't add up. We even looked into the organizations supposedly receiving funds from this gala. They don't mention receiving a single dollar from this nonprofit. This raises serious questions about its purpose. This is precisely how some powerful individuals allegedly operate, exploiting systems for their own gain. After uncovering all of this, I genuinely believe I'll never look at Salma Hayek the same way again. She appears to know far too much. And the scariest realization is that she seems perfectly okay with it. Her face, to me now, tells a story of someone who has seen things, endured things, and accepted a troubling reality. What do you make of everything we've just revealed? It truly makes you question everything, doesn't it? Let's keep this conversation going in the comments below. I'll see you in the next one.